Okay, I'm back to the next stage. As you can see here, I've added a bunch of, or edited and added and tweaked a bunch of pieces of the illustration. Um, I've replaced a lot of this, all the border stuff, the buildings that I had in here, kind of these arbitrary rectangles and boring buildings. I replaced those with the stuff I had talked about earlier with the carnival amusement park structures and things like that. Uh, Excuse me, but my tablet is running slow today. So yeah, you can see where I put a funny frog in there, and then the little circus, maybe the merry-go-round ride. Then there's a clown back here. There's some different art, just more creative and fun architectural pieces. Here I added an arrow, which will have light bulbs, like a midway type arrow, and we'll have probably the date, I think, on it. It just gives me a place to put some kind of information that I'll need later. On this side, I added a monkey and one of those jug face. I don't know if you've seen those, but it's like a jug with it's like ceramic. Anyway, they're pretty famous, so check them out. Also, kind of a little bit of a moonshine reference there as well. Here is a Victorian house with one of those honey bear containers with the lid on it with smoke coming out. And if you're a person of a certain age, you will know what I'm referring to for that. Added some flowers, a frog down here. Some of this stuff might change after I explore where I'm putting color, but for now it looks good. Here, some mushrooms down here, and then I worked on Billy's image and the card that he's on here. Just added detail. I decided to put the hat kind of in front of it, down on his head, covering his face. So I don't have to worry about any kind of issues for approvals with likeness and whatever. It can kind of be a pain when you're trying to do a caricature of the artist for the poster. Some skulls up here, some fun things like fun things that relate to the Funhouse vibe on this one. I put a rocket back here. Oh, this is a moon with the eye patch, which is a kind of reference to a Trip to the Moon, that old movie with the rocket ship punching the eye out of the moon. I'm sure you've seen pictures of it many times. So a little spoof on that. So yeah, this a duck up here, or a bird. I'm not sure if that'll stay there or not, but the thought is what I wanted. So, and then the marquee sign, which would be a very, lit up amusement park type looking sign, will be arched over here for Billy Strings. And then Atlanta, all the typography will be basically a kind of a book ending, or Billy Strings will be on top and the information will be on the bottom. So it kind of contains what's in between, is the, illustration on all the narrative elements. So now I'm about to just sketch in the devil face on here, and kind of since I already had my rough was pretty good. The rough sketch that I sent into the management, so I'm just going to go in and tighten it up some. And I'll have the sign stuff. The sign will stay in front of it on the final. So, there's the furrow brow, and then the nose will come down here. I don't know if maybe have it pointed. I don't know. Probably kind of figure that out at some point here. So I'm just kind of tightening up the drawing that I already had, which, like I said, it was pretty how I wanted it. So the spiral eyes, which will be a bright color in the color. Then the cheeks, come down like that. This is a symmetrical design, so what I'll end up doing is just mirroring, copy and mirroring the this side of the face, and I'll just flip it to this side. The original sketch I had the triangle, kind of just a triangle type shape for it, but I think for this I'm going to give it a little character and give it like a little handlebar mustache, just to give it a little more character, a little more playful vibe to it. And I try to, since this design is made up of a lot of verticals, I try to break up the verticals wherever I can. You can see I'm breaking up the head with the smoke here, and the smoke over here. Just kind of breaks up some of the hard shapes, some of the block shapes, and so it's not so geometrical, and it gives it a little bit of a flow as well. Why am I not moving here? There we go. Yeah. Issues. Okay, so I got this, and now I can move on to the mouth, which I want to have the top of the mouth pretty much. It is a structure, you know. It's not a real face. It's a structure of a funhouse structure. So I want to play up the angles, you know, being like straight on some of it, and also, you know, this angle that I'm making here, it echoes the angles that are in here. And it creates a nice direction, a nice flow to the main character, which is Billy Strings down here. So I just, and then as far as the teeth go, I mean, up here on this, they have fangs. I guess maybe I'll put a little gap in it, in his teeth, just to have some fun with it. Then maybe not the fangs not being as long as my reference material. So yeah, so once I have that, since it is, like I said, since it is like a mirrored image, I'll just flip it. I'll just flip it over, and I'm gonna show you. So I'll take this, it's on a separate layer, so I can easily take this and copy and paste, and then flip horizontal. And then I'll just move it over like that. So not everything on this design is mirrored, but this main feature is fine with that. I could always go in, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll go in and like merge these layers now, since that's the devil head. So that's the devil head merged. And if I want to add a little bit of a nuance, or I'll erase this mustache and make the curve a little bit different, or but for this, it is a structure. It's built, supposedly, funhouse, you know, structure. So I don't mind it being the way it is, perfectly symmetrical in the final piece. All right, so this is what I have now, and it's probably will take me one more round of kind of tweaking it, redrawing it, just tracing it. What I'll do is I'll just take what I just did, and I'll do the same thing I did before. I'll just put the opacity down and keep on tracing over it. What I will say, I will be doing all this typeface, all the arched type in Illustrator, and then importing it back. It's just a better program for that kind of stuff. And also I'll be doing the border stuff in Illustrator as well. Then I'll save it as a PSD file. Then I'll come back and place it, and I'll probably end up still redrawing it in this program, so the line character matches what the rest of the design is. But I still need the placement, so I know where everything's gonna go. I mean, this is up here. I think up here will go, you know, will be the date 2023. But it's just a lot easier to do that in Illustrator, where I can make it perfect. Okay, so oh, and this sign, this little front sign, I plan on making, you know, really kind of like an ornate kind of vibe to it, like in the old some kind of, you know, the old circus or a merry-go-round kind of vibe, scrolly and such. Maybe I'll pull some reference pieces for that too before I go to the final, but it's something like that. I think that's okay. All right, so like I said, a date will go in there, and maybe I'll add some other stuff in here. Okay, so this is basically the next stage is just redrawing this, knocking the opacity down, and just add another piece of parchment, digital parchment or tracing paper, and then just go over it again. And each time, you know, it gets your drawing tighter and tighter, and you can make little tweaks. And like I've said before, it's just a lot easier to execute the technique if you have a really solid drawing and you kind of know where things are. Especially for this style of drawing that I'm doing, this style of illustration is what I want. It's pretty precise. It's not like an expressive type of illustration. It's pretty, you know, it is what it is. Where the pencil line is where the illustration will adhere to. So, all right. So I'll see you in a bit. Thanks.